So this week's book of the week is Way of the Wolf by Jordan Belfort. Straight line selling, master the art of persuasion, influence and success. This guy is a genius when it comes to sales. This is like the best sales book ever that I have read. Like basically if you just buy this book, that's enough to succeed in sales. Of course you can buy other books as well, but this is definitely my favorite. So I'm going to summarize the best 5 ideas from this book, but before we start, check the link in the description. I have linked a link to bookdepository.com. You can order this book to your home right away, and they have free shipping. They ship worldwide. I definitely recommend getting this book. Also make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell as well to see more videos like this, because I'm posting one book summary every week, because I read a book every week. So the first idea, and there's a lot of good ideas in this book, but I'm going to start with one of my favorite ideas, which is that there are like 3 things that you need to make the prospect completely certain about. So you need to basically sell to them firstly the product, then you also need to sell them yourself, and you need to sell them the company. Like they need to be absolutely, or depending on the person, some people have a higher action threshold than others, but you need to at least to some extent make them certain about the product, and then to trust and connect with you, and then also trust the company and like the company that you work for. So he talks about like why it's 3 tenths is from 0 to 10 you have a scale of like how certain the prospect is, and your goal during the presentation and the sales encounter is to move them from 0 to 10 on the certainty scale, or at least close enough to 10 so that they buy, because not everybody needs to be at the 10. Some people just buy everything like all the time, some kind of stuff. They're like the kind of buyer types, and then some other people be like absolutely certain and damn sure of it that the product is good, you are trustworthy and the company is great. But so yeah, that's very important because well, of course, like before anything, it's the product, because it needs to be good. That's what they're buying after all. But the problem might be that they don't trust with you, and that's why they don't buy, because they don't really know you well enough, or maybe they have heard something bad about the company, or just don't know the company well enough to trust it. That's what can be an obstacle. Secondly, there is the 4-second rule, or he talks about like how in the first 4 seconds you need to come across as these 3 things: sharp as attack, enthusiastic as hell, and an expert in your field. Those are the 3 things, or otherwise you will have like a massive uphill in front of you, or you don't even really have a chance. So whether you're selling on the phone or in person, you need to really like sound like someone who is really sharp. Why? Because they need to think that you can help them achieve their goals. They are buying something because they want to solve a problem. They're trying to like meet their goals with the product. So if you are dumb and like slow and you're not sharp, why would they do business with you? Because you probably sell them like too much of a certain product, or the wrong product, or something like they cannot like trust that you make the right recommendation for them. For example, if you sell like solar, like me, by the way, big thanks to Jordan Belfort for like because of reading this book and going through his training online. That's a big reason that I have been the best person in my company, and I think I'm still currently like selling the most solar in my company right now, is because of these things that I've learned from this book mostly, and some other books as well. But what was I going to say? Talking about, yeah, the prospect wanting to solve their problem is like you need to sound like a sharp person. Then second, you need to also sound enthusiastic as hell. not like overly enthusiastic, like out of control and so on, but like someone of authority would be like excited, like this kind of, you talking kind of like a excited tone, but like just under the surface, like not blown, like still in control, excited, enthusiastic, but still in control. Then thirdly, also you need to be an expert in your field, so you need to know your product, and if you are a beginner, then you need to at least sound and seem like you know it, and while you're learning that field, then you act as if you were already an expert. So you need to sound like that and look like that. If you go door to door or if you meet people in person, then of course how you look, how you dress, haircut, facial hair, everything like that matters as well. But most of us work over the phone or even sell over the phone, at least to some extent, in our like sales jobs. So it's very important actually to sound good. Now third idea is that people have different action thresholds, like I talked about, but the action threshold is actually malleable. So if there is a really difficult prospect, you can still mold their action thresholds, because you can make it like, you can talk about like what's the biggest or the worst thing that can like happen, or what's the upside, and like make it seem like not so big of a deal. Like you might even have to resort to like the puppy dog gloves or something, meaning that you refer to them being able to try the product first and return it if they don't like it, or the money back guarantee or something like that. You can use to lower their action threshold, or you can step down in the sale and make it a smaller price first that they buy, and then they can buy later more. Or you can then secondly also after that, if they still don't buy, you can work with their pain threshold, because people also have a pain threshold. So if you can make the problem big enough, if you can amplify their problem that they're trying to solve, make it strong enough, they will really want to buy that product right away, because they start to see the future. Like when you talk future pace them, they start seeing themselves in the future, like experiencing the pain of the current situation not being solved, and then you can make them take action right then. So fourth is using looping in the closing. So if you do not get the sale from asking for the order right away, most salespeople quit at that point. You want to do what is called looping. So instead of doing what the average salesperson does, of either quitting or just using some rehearsed like rebuttals and then asking for the sale again and again and trying to pressure the person to buy, you will use looping, which is you just bring your customer basically back to the presentation and make them more certain, because the objection that they have is usually not even like real. It's just they're just masking their uncertainty with that objection. So they might say that it's we need to talk about it with someone, we need to sleep it overnight, we need to think about it, we need to I will call you back, whatever the objection is, bad time of the year. It's usually just that they are not certain about those three things: the product, you, or the company. So what you will do is you will make them more certain about that. And the question you do, instead of a rebuttal right away, you will ask them the question. You will use this pattern basically. Like, I hear what you're saying. Let's say Bill. I hear what you're saying, Bill, but how do you like the idea? How does the idea sound to you? Does the idea make sense to you? And then you want to use like a tonality of like a hypothetical tonality, like money aside. You don't want to sound like completely like certain or pressuring when you talk about that. You use a sound like tonality like but how do you like the idea? Like does the idea make sense to you? Like money aside. You don't of course want to use those words, but it's like basically the customer is hearing that you're saying like money aside, how do you like the product? And that's something very powerful, by the way, that he talked about earlier in the book as well, is using like those different tones, and I'm going to talk about them in the fifth point a little bit. But using those different tonalities, because the words you say are only 10% of how you can influence people, or the other 90% is what they see and what they hear, about 45% what they see and 45% what they hear, so body language and tonality. So basically you can say like things that in and of themselves wouldn't like cause a certain like response from the other person, but when you use a certain tonality, their conscious mind will start to like they will hear different things, like the money aside tonality. I said, like if I say it in a different tone, like how do you like do you like the product, like if that sounds really pressuring, that what they hear is like this person is pressuring me. When I say it like but oh, I understand, I hear what you're saying, but how do you like the idea? It's like money aside, hypothetical. Other tonality is something that I didn't have in my like 5 points, but I have to mention, like for example, when you're booking appointments, it's very powerful when you don't talk like in a monotone tone, and instead you again use a certain tonality. For example, you call, like, let's say you're John Smith and calling from XYZ company. You're calling from there, and the normal salesperson just picks up the phone and talks like as a declarative statement like, this is John Smith from XYZ company, and what the other person will hear besides those words is like, okay, this is a salesperson. Like 99% of people will hear this is a salesperson, and what they do they will click the phone, or they will just try to like end the phone call as soon as possible, so you literally like have no chance at that point of moving forward if you get perceived that way. So what he recommends instead is that you say something like, you instead of saying it in a declarative tone like Bill, or what was it, Jim Smith from XYZ company, you say it in a question like tone, like, this is Jim Smith from XYZ company, like, you remember? And you don't really even say that because of course you don't know them, but they hear it like, who? Like, am I supposed to know this person? Like, wait, I cannot hang up the phone because if I know this person, that would be really disrespectful, and it's like a common like human desire to not be like rude or anything like on the phone. So they will hang on, and then you will have the opportunity to talk more. But that was not really the point. The fifth point is, because I'm not going to go through all those tonalities, but a very powerful tonality, or a tonal pattern rather, is used in the asking for the order. He recommends you use a tonal pattern of 3 different tonalities, because one of the tonalities is absolute certainty, which is something you use while you talk about the product. Then you have utter sincerity, when you want to build trust, and then you have a reasonable man tone, which is when you want to ask for something, you want to sound like it's reasonable, not like it's something pressuring or some big deal or something. So when you're closing or asking for the order, you use these 3 different tonalities. Like for example, you talk first about the product, like if we get started right now, this will do that and that. You talk very confidently, and then you're like, and trust me, you'll be very, very impressed, like utter sincerity, or like, and believe me, the only thing that you'll regret is not getting started 6 months ago, because you would already have made this much money or something. And then you use the reasonable man tone. Sound fair enough? Or sound good? Not, does that sound good? Sound good? Sound fair enough? Like, you, and then you use your body as well. You can throw your hair, your arms in the air, like, sound fair enough? And that sounds like that's my favorite tone. Like, that's like so magical, like how the customer hears it, like, it's not so big of a deal, like, let's get started. Instead of like, well, can I get your signature there? Or like, that's the wrong way, like, sign right there. Like if you do it like that, that's very pressuring, like, whoa, I cannot trust this person, like, this is, I definitely need to think something like this through, like, but if I like, sound fair enough, it's okay. That's a magical tone. And then those 3 combined together is such a great pattern. Like, so present something like, and that will definitely do this and this for you, and trust me, you'll be very, very impressed. Sound fair enough? And you lean back when you say, sound fair enough? Not lean forward. But yeah, that's the 5 best ideas. Really, you need to order this book to get all of the great ideas from this book, because there's a lot more. But yeah, this is linked in the description. Make sure also to subscribe to this channel if you didn't yet, and hit like for this video if it was helpful. I will see you next time.